That was by far the most disconcerting, pathetic win I've ever covered. What's up? Thanks for bearing with me. I'm Grant Cohn. This is my instant reaction to the 49ers troubling 20-9 win over the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to break down all of Brock Purdy's interceptions and what the Niners should do with the quarterback position moving forward. But first, I want to shout out this week's sponsors, Cash App. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, A Block Incorporated brand. Visit cashapp.legal, cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. And also, this week's podcasts are brought to you by Cozy Earth. These are premium pajamas and blankets. 100-night sleep trial. Try them out. If you don't love them, return them. Hassle-free, but trust me, you won't want to. Also, a 10-year warranty, because once you feel this level of comfort, you'll want it to last a decade. Give the gift of comfort that lasts beyond the holidays. This weekend only, from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, get 40% off at CozyEarth.com with code COHN. It's the best deal of the year. And if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here. Okay, you know who didn't have a cozy night? Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy threw 3 picks in the first half. The question is, why? Why did Brock Purdy play so poorly? There's one of two answers. One, Brock Purdy isn't good. He is a turnover machine, and that's just who he is now. Two, he's hurt. He said he's not 100% healthy, but he's close. They've said he's not 100% healthy. We watched him. It seems to me that this injury, that still is a thing, affects his throwing more than his running. He had a nice scramble in this game. No hesitation, made a guy miss in the pocket, picked up a first down. It was a nice play. But he can't drive passes. He can dink and dunk like Mac Jones, but when it's time to throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field, it floats because he can't drive the ball. He admitted that after the game. He said he's not driving the ball the way he should. So I asked him, like, giving him an out. So that's your toe, right? And he's like, no, absolutely not. Now, to be fair, he was adamant after the Jacksonville game that he screwed up, that it wasn't the toe, and so was the coach. I also asked, someone asked Kyle Shanahan, was it the toe? He said no. So I think the Niners need to get their story straight. They should say that it's the toe. Because if it's not the toe, then it just means that he's bad. It's much better if it were the toe. I think it's the toe. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Possible that he's just an overrated turnover machine who played well for a year and a half, stunk last year, and is even worse this year. The guy has 7 picks through 5 games. He's playing like Jameis Winston used to play when he was in Tampa. I mean, he's throwing a pick for every touchdown. He's playing like a guy who should get benched. I mean, how many picks do you have to throw in the first half before you get benched? If he weren't making $53 million a year, would he have gotten benched? If Mac Jones hadn't played so well for a month and a half and created a quarterback controversy, would Brock have gotten benched? It seems to me that the reason he kept playing is because the 49ers don't want to admit that they made a big, big mistake giving Brock Purdy all that money. There was no reason to do it. He was under contract for another year. He played poorly last year. There was no reason to reward that level of mediocrity, which is a generous way to describe the way he played in 2024. This year, he's worse. He's 3-1 as a starter, but that's because the team around him is better. I mean, the team is being carried by a 29-year-old running back who's averaging 3.5 yards a carry. That's the offense. Every freaking play, he's carrying the team. So, I don't know. I think it would be smart for the 49ers to change their story tomorrow and tell us all that Brock Purdy's toe is still bothering him. I think if you're serious about winning, you got to play. You should have played Mac Jones in the second half. And I think it was easy to really, make fun of Brock Purdy for all those terrible, because they were terrible. And what's funny is after the game, Brock and Kyle tried to put a good spin on it. And they're like, well, the decisions were good. No, the hell they weren't. On the second pick, third down, he's scrambling. He had nothing but green grass in front of him. Scrambling right up the middle, nothing but green grass in front of him, but he throws off his back foot while running to a DB, right to a DB. He's such a cerebral turnover machine. I don't understand when people talk about Brock being football savvy and having a high football IQ and being an incredible processor. He holds the ball for 3.5 seconds and then throws the ball to the other team if he's throwing it more than 5 yards down the field. And the idea that he needed to play over Mac Jones because he was going to unlock the offense and stretch the defense was silly. Silly. Mac Jones has a better arm than Brock. If you don't see that, I don't know what you're looking at. Maybe stats. The stats will tell you that Brock's a more efficient deep ball thrower, but that's because of who he's throwing to. Mac was throwing to Kendrick Bourne, who's gone. Totally out of the offense. Brock is throwing to Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle, and the ball's, it looks like he's throwing pillows. It looks like he's throwing helium balloons. And I think what's funny is if they keep throwing him out there, it's going to look worse next week against the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns have a good defense. This defense sucked. Brock had all the time in the world. All he had to do was play like Mac Jones, but that's not good enough for him. He needed to prove something. He needed to push the ball down the field. He needed to show what he can do. He showed us. He can throw 3 picks in one half. And if Mac Jones had done that, he would have been benched in the second quarter. If Sam Darnold had done that, he would have been the butt of every joke across America. But Brock Purdy does it, and people are quiet. Why? He's been playing like this for 2 years. He's 16 and 14 in his last 30 starts. Probably has 30 picks in that time. So why did Brock play so poorly in this game? Because he's not good. Because he's a turnover machine. Because that's what he does now. He holds the ball a really long time and tries to make plays that his physical skill set can't cash. That was a mixed metaphor. He writes checks that his butt can't cash. That was better. It was a cliche. That's why he played so poorly. Because he really thinks he's top 10 in the league. Because they gave him this contract and he's trying to justify it as opposed to just playing the way he used to. That's what happened in this game. So what should the 49ers do with Brock Purdy? What's the move? They could keep playing him. And if they do, not only will he continue to struggle and he'll lose games that Mac Jones should have won, they could miss the playoffs. They're playing him to justify the contract they gave him. He's not 100% healthy. Mac Jones playing well. Absolutely no reason to make that switch. The reason they made it is because Mac was playing too well and having people ask uncomfortable questions about Brock and his contract. So Brock's back out there. But you played him against Arizona. It looked good. A lot of people threw him a freaking parade. That's what Brock brings to this team. And when Brock's out there, he's just going to score a lot of points. Yeah, okay. And then you play this freaking team, this awful, awful Carolina Panthers team, and you really prove people like me right. Brock's not ready. He shouldn't be playing. He's rusty. You messed up the rhythm of the offense for no good reason. Was the offense the reason the Niners lost to the Rams a few weeks ago? Fuck no. It was the defense. So now you swapped out a quarterback who was playing on time, in rhythm, not turning the ball over a ton, for a guy who just goes off script, holds the ball forever, indecisive, turnover machine. So what Kyle should do on the conference, next time he talks to the media, he says, it's funny. Brock came back the morning after this game against Carolina, and, he said that toe wasn't feeling good. During the game, it felt fine. But there's so much adrenaline, and he's such a competitor. At night, kind of got sore, came in the next day, wasn't feeling right. So we're shutting down Brock Purdy for the rest of the season. It's just not healing the way we hoped. And now that's a second setback. And we just want to make sure that this isn't any type of permanent lingering injury, because Brock is so important to our future that we need to set him. It's not about the interceptions. No, it's not about Mac Jones. It's about the toe. It's hurt. It's not healing. And we love Brock so much, out of an extreme abundance of caution, we are shutting him down for the rest of the year. And really, we're blaming ourselves. If we had shut him down after week 1 and let it heal entirely, maybe he'd be ready to go right now. But you know what? We didn't. And that's our fault, not Brock. I just want to say that Brock Purdy is a warrior, and his toughness should never be in question, because he's the one who wants to play. He's the one who we got to hold him back. And so now we're going to hold him back, because God knows Brock he's such a competitor. So, wow, we're putting Brock on IR, but when he comes back, we're excited to pay him $53 million. He's great. But in the meantime, we're going to play Mac Jones out of sheer necessity. It has nothing to do with the interceptions. It's just that Brock's hurt, and we're going to play our humble backup quarterback. Definitely not as good as that's what we're going to do. That's what I would do. It's called a soft benching. It's what the Minnesota Vikings do every few weeks with J.J. McCarthy. Oh, J.J. played like shit today? Guess what? His ankle hurts. He had a concussion. It's not his fault. It's not that J.J. McCarthy sucks. It's that he got hurt and he's tough, and he didn't even tell us. We didn't know. We love him. And then you trade him in the offseason. And then you see what the Niners are doing with Brandon Ayuk. They didn't want him. Kyle somehow strong-armed the whole organization to keep him when John Lynch and Jed York and Parag Marathe were in the process of trading him to Pittsburgh. Kyle comes in like Dustin Hoffman in The Graduate. No, don't trade him! So they didn't trade him. They extended him. Instantly regretted it. Tried to trade him this offseason when he couldn't even walk. Didn't work. The way I see it is they were never going to pay him another dollar. So they figured out a way to get out of the contract, and they made him look bad. He's unprofessional. He's childish. Like you didn't know that before you extended him. Like he changed. Nah, man, this is what you wanted to get into business with. And now he's a problem. It's his fault. He let you down. All right, man, well, then do that with Brock. Because Brock's contract is way worse than Brandon Ayuk's contract. It's $53 million a year for a turnover machine. Brandon doesn't play. Brock plays and turns the ball. It's worse. Not playing would be better than what Brock did tonight. So you try to trade him. You probably can't, because who in their right mind would want that contract with the way he's playing like a guy who needs to be a backup? You can't turn the ball over this much and be a starting quarterback unless your toe hurts, in which case you shouldn't play. So if you can't trade him like you couldn't Brandon, you tell Brock that he missed some meeting or rehab assignment that he wasn't aware of, and it's like, oop, all of your guarantees are now voided, but we like you. This doesn't mean we're getting rid of you. It's just that all of your guarantees are now voided. I understand that upsets you a little bit, but I just want you to know that we believe in you, Brock. It's just that you're now going to be competing with Mac Jones for the starting job. And it's going to be open competition. And if you lose, we could cut you, or we could keep you as the backup. It depends. Why not do that? Why would you only do that with Brandon Ayuk? Is it personal? It's business, right? It's never personal. It's strictly business. And if you have a bad contract and you can't trade it away, then what do? You get creative. And we know the Niners can get creative. They just did it with Brandon Ayuk. So this is the time and the place. Or you know what else they could do? Keep playing Brock Purdy. Try that. See how that goes. See how many more he can throw this before you're eliminated from the playoffs. I actually would prefer that. Do it your way. Prove to us how good Brock Purdy is. Because next week, it's not like they face a really good defense. It's not like it's going to be raining or snowing in Cleveland. It's not like it's going to be a 10 a.m. body. Throw him out there with the toe that's not working, and he can't drive his throws, and it's going to be raining. I think that's great. And keep calling those passes over the middle, Kyle, because it's not like the whole league caught up to that shit. You're way ahead of it. It's not like you've been calling that for the last 10 years. The play action dig over the middle. It's not like teams are all going to go to a cover one robber scheme to take that away. No, keep calling it, man. Did you notice that when Mac Jones was the quarterback, he didn't force that pass? See, what's interesting is it's not all Brock's fault. It's partially Kyle's fault because he's been figured out. He hasn't evolved. His whole offense is give the ball to Cohn. So when he tries to force the ball over the middle, that 15 to 20-yard throw, there's a guy there. So what the Niners have to do now is throw outside the numbers. But you know who can't do that well? Brock Purdy. Because he's not driving his throws, according to him. But it has nothing to do with the toe. You know who can throw the ball to the sideline? Mac Jones. Who? And I'm not saying give Mac Jones $53 million a year. I'm saying play Mac Jones. If you give a shit about going to the playoffs this year, if you want to beat the Cleveland Browns next week, play Mac Jones. You know why? Because he'll get the ball out of his hands pretty quick, and he'll dink and dunk down the field, and he won't try to prove that he's someone he's not. He'll just be Mac Jones. Purdy, what does Purdy think he is? Brett Favre? A combination of Brett Favre, John Elway, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. But really, he's playing like a mobile Jimmy G. He has now become Purdy G, who is semi-related to Kenny G, but not as good at the saxophone. So that's what the Niners should do with Brock Purdy. Soft benching, and then if you can't trade him, void his contract. I mean, you did it to Brandon. So let's look at the outlook for the rest of the year. The Niners are 8-4. They've won 2 games in a row. Brock Purdy's 3-1. Christian's still healthy. Pearsall's getting back in the groove. Kittle's out there. The defense played great. This team's going places, right? Yeah, that's how you feel, right? They just won by 11. They covered the spread. Why would you be upset? Oh, because the quarterback threw 3 picks in the first half. Coach, his offense, terrible. Ricky Pearsall had 6 yards. I mean, they played like a team that has no business being in the playoffs. They played like a team that's slightly better than the Panthers, who are like the definition of pretenders. They suck. Every time the Niners made a mistake and gave the game to the Panthers on a silver platter, they were like, we don't know what to do with that because we suck. So you take it back. I think that this team isn't going anywhere. The defense played well. We know the team isn't going anywhere, but the defense played well. Yeah, because Bryce Young sucks. And that whole offense and that coach, they went for 2 on the 1-yard line and threw it. Why? So the defense played well, but are they going to play well against a playoff team? I don't know. Maybe once. And then the offense was supposed to be all world, right? Oh, they're going to score 4. They're going to score so many points. Maybe if the quarterback weren't throwing 3 picks a game. So, I don't know. 8-4, easy schedule. They can win next week and be 9-4. They can win the week after that and be 10-4. But would you really feel like this team is going anywhere? I don't. Kyle hasn't had a new idea in 3 years. His offense is give the ball to Christian until he drops. I don't get it. It seems like the goal for this year is to get him 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, to make Brock Purdy look good, and to use injuries as an excuse when they fall short. I don't understand the point of giving the ball to Christian so much when next year is the Niners' year. They need Christian next year when he's going to be 30. And we saw what happened to Christian after he had like a 350 touch season in 2023. He took the next year off. What's going to happen next year if he touches the ball 4? He's going to take the next year off or be hurt or both. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the Niners. I'm going to Cleveland. But I don't know, man. This team feels like the Warriors. They're holding on to something that was never there, and they're slowly fading away. But hey, maybe Brock Purdy will stop throwing hella picks. What's the outlook for next season? I love this, right? The Niners didn't make a trade at the deadline, and they keep talking about their plan. It's a reset year, or other people are talking about it's a 2-year plan, it's a 3-year plan. 2025 isn't the year because Bosa and Warner went down, but 2026 is going to be the year. How bright is the 49ers' future? They have Robert Saleh for now, although if he keeps having performances like this, they won't have him next year. They have, few players coming back on defense, but without Warner and Bosa, who are getting older and coming off injury, who's the best player on the defense? Jair Brown? Okay. That's something. And then on offense, I mean, you have a quarterback making $53 million a year who's a turnover machine. You have a running back who's almost 30, who's being used irresponsibly. I mean, it's kind of like the way Mike Shanahan used Terrell Davis once upon a time. Like, do you hate Christian McCaffrey? Why are you doing this to him? Is this team going to be better next year? Is Brock going to all of a sudden stop throwing picks next year? Is Christian going to have more next year? Is Christian going to be more durable next year? It seems to me that this 8-3 record is a mirage, and that what we're watching is the slow decline of the Kyle Shanahan era. I mean, they're supposed to be building for the future, and they have some nice young players on defense, but what about on offense? They still got Juszczyk out there. They won't use any of their young running backs. Ricky Pearsall had no yards last week and 6 yards this week. He's back to running cardio on the field. And Brandon Ayuk isn't coming back because the Niners... What happened with Brandon Ayuk? You could have traded him. Oh, you didn't want him? I didn't want him. Remember last year when I was like, hey, I don't think you should pay him. He's worth it, but not to you. Trade him for what you can get. They didn't do that. They just wanted to trade him after he got hurt. Nice. So Brandon's not coming back. Ricky's not as good as Brandon. George is getting old. Christian's getting old. Brock is a disaster. And you're going to trade Mac Jones because I don't know why. And the schedule will be harder next year. You'll have to face the AFC West, the NFC East. The Rams are younger than the Niners and better than the Niners. The Seahawks are younger than the Niners and better than the Niners. But hey, the Niners are better than the Cardinals. And what's crazy about the future, it's all about Brock. If he continues this, he's benching himself. You understand? They're keeping him out there because they don't want to admit that they have another bad contract on their hands. But you throw these picks, you yourself. It's not even a decision for the organization to make. He's pulling a Matt Schaub. Remember when Matt Schaub threw like a pick 6 4 weeks in a row and never started again? That's what he's doing. That's why I think it's more beneficial for the Niners, smarter for the Niners to say he's hurt. Sit him for the rest of the year, and don't let this guy bench himself permanently because he's on the verge of it. He was dying to throw a 4th pick in this game until Kyle Shanahan essentially took the game out of his hands. I haven't seen a quarterback. I haven't seen Kyle Shanahan lose confidence in a quarterback like he lost confidence in Brock since Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback. I mean, Kyle trusts Mac. He'll run hurry-up offense with Mac. He never runs hurry-up offense with Brock. And in the second half, it was handoff, play action, bootleg, 5-yard throw over and over and over again. And that was the best way to run the offense. And that's how they have to run offense the rest of the season, the rest of Brock Purdy's career. It's what he can do now. Once you take away those throws over the middle, it's over for Brock. He can't drive the ball to the sideline. He couldn't drive the ball to the sideline before he hurt his toe. So, and it's like, let's say they miss the playoffs or make the playoffs and lose in the first round, and they fire John Lynch. What does that accomplish? What does he do? All he does is mask the fact that Kyle does everything. Why did Brandon Ayuk get extended instead of traded? Because that's what Kyle wanted. Why did Brock Purdy get $265 million? Because Kyle thinks he's super important for his offense. If Kyle told Jed and John, hey guys, I think he's a system quarterback and I think I could do the same thing with Mac, you think they would have given him $265 million? If Kyle was not running to the front office, Brandon Ayuk wouldn't be on this team. If Kyle Shanahan didn't get so upset with Jimmy Garoppolo in 2020, they never would have traded 3 first-round picks for the 3rd pick in the draft. And if they had taken Mac Jones, it still would have been a bad trade because he's not worth 3 first-round picks. They got him for nothing when he hit free agency. So you could fire John Lynch and bring in a general manager, but the issue is Kyle. His offense isn't good. His reload isn't working. His playmakers are all old, and his quarterback has been exposed. And he has Mac Jones, but he won't go to him. That's the outlook for next season. Whose stock is up? Let's go to the risers. Risers. Robert Saleh. His stock is up. You take away Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. He holds an NFL offense to 9 points. Now, Carolina's truly awful, but they put up numbers last week. And if a team's interested in Robert Saleh, they want a defensive coach. Look at what he's doing without any All-Pros. Not one Pro Bowler. He had pressure on Bryce Young. How? He actually manufactured a fucking pass rush. How? Jair Brown, 2 picks. That guy went from being benched to being a nickelback to being the best safety on the team and the ball hawk they were missing. Shout out Jair Brown. He's not the rangiest, fastest guy, but he seems like he does a good job of reading quarterbacks' eyes, and he's kind of like Talanoa Hufanga, where he's an instinctual player, and he has to trust his instincts. He has to react. And I don't know, maybe he could do that under Nick Sorensen. He's had 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years, and that's tough. Maybe Steve Wilkes said, I like you, I trust you, play on instinct. Maybe Nick Sorensen said, do your freaking assignment. And maybe Robert Saleh's learning to trust Jair Brown, and that's why he's playing better. But you got to give him credit. He's playing well and making himself some serious money. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's going to finish the season average like 3.5 yards per carry, but it doesn't look like he's going to miss any time. It does look like he's going to have 2,000 yards from scrimmage. And I don't know, maybe this season it puts him over the top and gets him into the Hall of Fame, especially if Roger Craig gets in a few weeks or next year. That could help because he was sort of the original Christian McCaffrey. He's stock up. Mac Jones stock is up. He didn't even fucking play. Every time Brock Purdy threw a pick, Mac Jones made $5 million. He made $15 million tonight not playing. That's what I'm talking about. It's efficiency. You want to talk about EPA, DVOA? I'm talking about cash in his pocket. Mac Jones stock up. Matt Gay didn't miss anything. Sky Moore, stock up. Am I missing anyone? Brian Robinson Jr. Juwan Jennings got punched in the balls, kept fighting. Stock up for Juwan. To stock down. Whose stock went down today? Well, Brock Purdy's stock went down. Anytime you throw 3 picks in one half and then coach loses all trust and confidence in you, takes the ball out of your hands and makes you Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not good. Fortunately, he already got paid. Can you imagine if the Niners had just been patient and not given him extension? What would he be worth right now? What would he be worth right now? 4 starts, 7 picks, 8 touchdowns, and a toe injury. Nothing? But he got paid already. But Kyle Shanahan, stock way down. Monday Night Football, you think he's going to show off. He's going to have incredible ideas. No. He has the same idea he's had since 2022. Give it to Christian. Where's Christian? Can I hand it to Christian? Should I throw it to Christian? Those 2 guys, stock down. Renardo Green. That touchdown catch he gave up to Ted McMillan was terrible. He was completely on his heels, sitting on like a curl. McMillan runs a post and is wide open. Renardo Green, he's not physical. He doesn't tackle, and he doesn't intercept passes. He does that. But every once in a while, he breaks up a pass. I guess Renardo would be my other stock down. I don't really have many more. Let's go through Super Chats. Double B Studio says, Mac was a top 10 quarterback this year. Where would Purdy have ranked if he would have played this whole time? Or does he get a pass due to the toe? Man, if he had played 12 games this year, he'd have 25 picks. He's 7 picks in 4 games. Double B Studio says, what did we learn that we better than Arizona and Carolina? Marco Bravo says, Purdy buns. Anyone who says otherwise is delusional. Nasi says, I thought that holding my breath feeling every time the ball goes 10 yards down the field is gone after Jimmy G left. Apparently that feeling is back. Does it feel good? Do you like that? Graham Adair 20 says, this is why the Niners should never trade Mac Jones. Agree. The young Montana been a member for 51 months. Thank you so much. That's a long time. Nelson says, Juice unlocks the offense. That fake snap. Wow. T. Young says, no way does Ayuk's dissatisfaction have nothing to do with the Niners' commitment to Purdy. David says, Purdy's, not reading that one. Jay's got junk says, do you think CMC needs more touches? 31 seems low. Nate says, he also had Kittle open on a slant on the second pick. That's correct. DBZ Warlord says, Niners covered versus a team that had won 5 of 7 Super Bowl bound. Yeah, that's the way to look at it. Double B Studio says, Purdy throwing interceptions because he don't do Jimmy pumps. David Trinidad 02, ignoring tonight's barrage of interceptions, which quarterback managed to throw the more beautiful spirals? Purdy. Austin K says, Brock defenders forgot about that Rams game. I think they had flashbacks tonight. Sudden Chaos says, I was screaming when we picked up Mac in the offseason to trade Purdy and not extend him. The leadership on this team just does nothing but let the fans down. Graham says, giving Ayuk that extension along with the extensions to CMC and Purdy should cost John Lynch's job. I want him fired. What about Kyle? Josh Wyatt says, does anything make you more confident than the sight of Saleh smirking on the sideline? There should be a coaching controversy, not a quarterback controversy. Not a quarterback controversy? What about both? Not a quarterback controversy? What are you kidding? T. Young says, Brock equals all window dressing to throw a 4-yard pass. William says, we all forget Brock was a 7th-round pick for a reason. Great mentality, but never had the arm or the tape to be a top 10 quarterback. Horrible contract. Sober Asark says, Brock is an elite quarterback. Mac would have thrown 5 picks, and I'll be a hater. Ha! Yeah, man, anytime you face that Carolina Panthers defense, it's tough. Railgar1 says they won't admit the play calls were bad, predictable. They? The real Harvey Dent says, Grant, I get Brock sucks, but please stop moving goalposts when the team wins a game. You said it would be a statement win to beat the Panthers. Did you see the Panthers tonight? Did we watch the same game? I was wrong. They suck. Jorge Guzman says, should the Niners go for Bryce Young in 2026? He kind of sucked, but his skill set is very similar to Brock's, so maybe they'd have success with him. Graham says there isn't a quarterback controversy anymore. It's crystal clear that Mac is at least as good. Actually, I'll freaking say it. Mac is better. Yeah, he is better. Christopher says, will Kyle ever say anything negative about Brock? Not after paying him. CNL says, it appears the your play sucks man is imminent. The real Harvey Dent says Mac will play in the postseason. What postseason? Playoffs? Playoffs? Real Harvey Dent says Mac would have hit Ricky P 3 times tonight. Strong arm. Christopher says he thinks he's Dan Marino. Graham says Kyle will never stop using CMC no matter how bad he is. Their schedule will be much harder next year for them, and Robert Saleh will leave. ACUSTS says the Niners play who we pay. Doug says they'll change their story about Brock tomorrow. Agree. Herbie Holland says, first, fire Shanahan now. Brock Purdy is trash. Cleveland will kick their ass, and it won't be close. This team is unwatchable. CMC left, CMC right, CMC cash, and Brock Purdy interceptions. Niners trash. Graham says no O-line once Trent retires. Kyle useless. Bye-bye. NVX Media says we want McCorkle Jones. Stefan says, did Brock know we were wearing red? Faithful to the base says bench Brock for Mac. V. Strass says Jawan fought hard today. I'd like to see him back next year. Okay. Henry says we won the game, but you all acting like we lost. Shake my head. S2 Bling says Brock needs investigating with Chauncey for fraud. Nick says $53 million for that? When we could have traded for Joe Milton, 6'5", 240 pounds, 4'5", 40-yard dash, a missile of an arm, the tools you want in a quarterback, or just go with Mac. See what Prize Picks has to say about it all. Prize Picks in the place to be. Okay. Boom. Upcoming. SF Cleveland. View the game. Shador. 159 passing yards for Shador. I mean, yeah. I'm gonna say more. Rushing yards, Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to say less because the Browns have a really good defense. Quinshon Judkins, more. I don't know why I feel that way. I'm not sold on the Niners defense. George Kittle, 57.5 on the road. No, less because it'll be raining. Harold Fannin, 39.5. I'm going to say less just because he's a rookie and I'm not feeling it. Okay, those are my picks. I'm making them. I'm keeping them. I'm locking them. I'm flexing them. I'm submitting them. I'm downloading Prize Picks. You should too. Use promo code COHN. Play $5, get 50 instantly in lineups. When you use promo code Cohn, COHN, Prize Picks available 45 states, including California and Texas. Thank you for watching. Did I go hard enough? Did I rush it? Did I rush it a little bit? Should I slow down? They won the game. That's incredible. What a win. 8-4. Watch out for the 49ers. If they were 8-4 and won this game with Mac Jones, I'd feel like you think they have some momentum. They have something. But you have a quarterback who's tripping all over himself, who's a liability, and you're trying to gaslight people like it's not his fault. The decisions were good. It was just 3 bad throws. Now he's hurt. At best, he's hurt. At worst, he's a fraud. In the sense that he's not worth what you said he's worth. He's not as good as, not a fraud, but he's just been overhyped. How about that? Michael Mock says, you can tell Ricky was losing motivation as soon as he would cross the 10-yard line, knowing Purdy couldn't reach him beyond that point. Shake my head, man. Yeah. It's not great. It's not great, but we'll see what he does next week. Next week's a bigger test. Cleveland has a good defense. It'll be in the rain on the road. The Niners haven't beaten an AFC team since week 4 last year. So see what he's got. Thanks for watching. I'm going to end this now because it's 10:47. I still have my grades to do. So stay tuned for that big F- from Brock and Kyle and see what I give other people. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with my dad. See ya.